I will start by briefly reviewing the evaluation process for Mrs. CIOCANU. The Commission initiated its evaluation on the 24th of August 2023 by notifying Ms. CIOCANU by email and asking her to complete and return an ethics questionnaire and the financial declarations required by Law 65. Aliona CIOCANU returned the completed declarations and questionnaires on the 4th of September 2023. As part of evaluating a subject's ethical and financial integrity, the Commission also obtains information from many other sources, such as the National Integrity Authority, the State Fiscal Service, the General Inspectorate of the Border Police, other public institutions, financial institutions, and open sources. The Commission assesses information it obtains for relevance and reliability. On the 30th of October 2023, the Commission asked Ms. CIOCANU to provide additional information by the 5th of November to clarify certain matters. Ms. CIOCANU provided answers on the 5th of November. On the 17th of November 2023, the Commission asked Ms. CIOCANU to provide additional information by the 20th of November. Ms. CIOCANU provided answers by that date. On the 15th of January 2024, Ms. CIOCANU submitted 2 additional documents to the Commission. On the 5th of January 2024, we notified Ms. CIOCANU that the Commission, in its investigation, had identified some areas of doubt about her compliance with the ethical and financial criteria. We also invited her to attend today's hearing. Ms. CIOCANU, at the outset, I ask, do you wish to make any corrections or additions to the answers you've provided to the Commission's previous requests for information?
I don't know if I would have some additions, but I have some clarifications in figures or related to figures, some specific figures that I brought related to expenses started from 2018 that I have incurred for my household, with a series of justificating documents. I have even the documents myself about what expenses I had for the utilities like gas, water, sanitation, electricity, communication services like telephone, cleaning, and I have all the documents in original, and on some forms I have calculations showing that prove my calculations being in the tables presented to the Commission are higher, and I did not have such expenses, if it's quite clear what I said. So, where it is indicated this CCP on average for 2-3 members of the family, I've had actually lower expenses. But I have documents only starting from 2018 and 2022 that I have preserved. The others I don't have from before.
All right, so are there additional documents that you've brought to provide to the Commission today?
I have them in electronic version, and I've also have made a calculation, because indeed I did not keep a strict record of the cash amounts that I keep at home. I was not subject of assets declarations, and I did not do that, but later on, understanding and seeing the model that was presented in relation to the doubts of the Commission and how the Commission is assessing all the financial aspects, I have also modeled or assessed the situation without changing the CCP that is indicated in the statistics, and I've also made a calculation for period 2011-2012 and so on for all the stages, thus arriving to a positive result, a positive difference, let's say so.
Well, the documents that you have electronic copies of, please send them by email to the Secretariat's address, because that will allow us to keep track of what you've submitted. And as we come to the different topics in today's questions, you can explain if there are adjustments or different calculations that you think are appropriate.
Just one clarification. Do I have them to send them now or later on?
It would be good if you could send them, if you have them and you can email them. Oh, yes.
On a key USB.
Thank you. Let me also ask, you will recall you submitted an ethics questionnaire on the 4th of September 2023 that answered various questions. Is that still accurate as of today, your answers on the ethics questionnaire?
Yes.
Okay. Members of the commission will now ask you some additional questions. We'll try to keep our questions short and to the point. Similarly, we ask that you try to keep your answers short and responsive to the questions. Commission member Lilian Ansu will begin the questions.
Bună ziua, doamnă Ciocanu.
Good afternoon, Madam Ciocanu. I propose to you to start with the hearing with the financial part of the issues that you have, on which you have communicated to the Commission information, issues that need some clarifications. First dimension of the questions is the donation received from Mr. Vladimir Ciocanu, who is your father, and who, from the explanations that you provided, would have donated to you like an amount of 150,000 lei in the period reference till 2021, and this amount reaches to 64% of his incomes in that period. You have explained that how this amount was gathered, but you have not communicated to the Commission evidence about the source of this money, or any kind of confirmation about the gathering of this amount. So let's please come back to this topic and to give us more details about the amount that your father has donated to you. Yes, my father, before he passed away, yes, there are people that feel that their life is almost. So he left me some money that he asked me to use for his funeral. But as I have explained, I could not use the full amount for his funerals because we were in the pandemic period, and all cafes, shops, market were closed. I could use only what I could, and I indicated strictly what I used, around 5,250 lei. I believe. So the source of his income is his personal savings, and also, I believe, sales of some personal assets. Because at a particular moment, I could not find the cars that he used to have. Some music-related objects. He has sold also some furniture items. But the most surprise for me was that I know that my father had worked till almost his last moment of his life. In just a few years before his that he has stopped working, he has worked all his life as a training in the driver's school, as a mentor for driver. And after the retirement, he kept practicing this profession.
ori că nu s-a făcut atunci evidența financiară încă nu era la fix.
Maybe there was no this record keeping with the STS, or maybe something else caused for not have data about his income. I believe there is this digital or electronic record keeping, but I don't know with the STS, but I don't know why the previous periods are not reflected in this data. I understood that it was requested only to have digitalized data for the period starting 2011 till 2021, till his death. But I know that he has he has gathered this amount for a long period of time, and this is not only 60% of his incomes, but slightly more.
Dacă această sumă constituie
If this amounts to more than 60% of his income, no, it's not more, it's less.
Vă mulțumesc.
Thank
În
you.
aceeași ordine de idei, în documentul recent
In the
expediat
same
Comisiei,
sense,
ați
in the
anexat o
document that you sent to the
recipisă
Commission, you
semnată de
have
doamna Aliona
attached a notice
Curici,
signed by Madam Elena
în
Curici,
care dânsa,
in which
la fel, afirmă
she
că
also
odată
states
cu decesul
that
soțului său,
once her
care este
husband
și tatăl
died,
soțului
who is
dumneavoastră,
also the father of your
Domnul a
husband,
lăsat în calitate de
he
moștenire
left
la
as
fel
a
circa 150.000 de lei
inheritance
fiilor săi.
an amount of
Întrebarea
money
este,
to his
copii
sons. The
a
question
avut acest
is
domn?
how
Doi copii.
many children did he have? 2 sons.
Și dacă cunoașteți care
And
este
if
proporția moștenirii,
if you know what
el
is the share
împărțit această
of
sumă
distributing
legal
this
sau
heritage,
diferit?
was it shared, this inheritance shared equally or not? I don't know what is this share, how they divide it, but from what we've discussed with Iurie Curici,
Eu am înțeles că
I understood that he received about 50,000 out of this amount of money.
Cum a indicat și doamna Curicelena,
As Madam Curicelena said, more or less there was 150,000.
nefiind într-o strictă evidență
Well, of
economică,
course,
clar că
not having this strict record keeping, this is an estimative amount, but this is the reality. And I noticed that the Commission has collected sufficient documents, even on the name of Curici Ion, who is the father of my husband, which confirmed that he had this pension, and alongside with the receiving the pension, he has worked within the vocational school, vocational school, and he has received the wage as a master.
Dacă sunteți la curent, există
Okay,
vreun
are you aware
document
if there is
juridic, cum ar fi
any
un act
legal
de deschidere a
document,
succesiunii
an act
sau
for
un act notarial
of
care confirmă
succession,
acest
or any
eveniment?
document from the notary certifying this event? As far as I know, this money was given by Curici Ion during his life, because he has been suffering from cancer for a while, and he already felt that his death was imminent, so he called his sons and he discussed basically with them. I did not take part in that. I don't know about any documents speaking about that. I did not engage in opening this procedure for the succession after the death of this person. The family took care of that. I was not invited and did not get involved in this
O altă
process.
întrebare este de ordine
Another
logistic,
question
și
referred to
anume,
logistical
deși
aspects.
interacțiunea comisiei cu
And
dumneavoastră a
especially,
durat
and specific-
mai multe luni,
Even though the
această
interaction with the
recipiță a fost
Commission
expediată comisiei în
lasted for a few
ajunul
months,
audierilor.
this notice was
Întrebarea
sent to the
este cine a
Commission
consiliat
just
pe doamna Aliona
before, on
Curici
the eve
să
of the
întocmească această recipiță
hearings.
și
So what
care
was
este,
that
de fapt,
persuaded
scopul
Madam Curici to comply to
acestei
draft,
informații
to write this
transmise comisiei?
notice, and what is the reason for this information sent to the Commission? Was she consulted? If I understood it correctly, she was not consulted by any other person to do so. She did this on my kind request, and I will tell you so. Why so? Because after I understood about the doubts of the Commission, I studied the materials collected by the Commission.
Joi, pare mi se era...
And it was on
Nu mi-amintesc ce dată. Adică
on
ceva
Thursday,
foarte scurt timp am avut
in just
pentru-
short
de când
time
am primit,
before
acest
the
document
hearing.
și până
Or-
la anunțarea că va fi audierea
So
comisii.
just a short
Sincer să vă spun,
time frame between the
fiind
moment I received the
curioasă, dar nu
document
numai din
and the
curiozitate,
hearing
dar și
to be
dintr-o-
planned, I
ca
was
să
curious.
văd, deci modalitatea de
And I
audiere,
wanted to
am privit pe site-ul
understand
comisiei
the
și
way
alte
the hearings are conducted.
audiere a
I've watched on the site of the
candidați.
Commission
Și
the
am
hearings of
văzut
the
că
other
se
candidates,
practică. Deși
and
eu,
I
sincer să vă
saw that
spun,
this is a
consider că
practice implemented,
un document
even though I
juridic, dar
believe that this is
dacă
not a legal document.
dă o credibilitate și unor
But
cuvinte
if it
ale
gives
noastre,
credibility
am
to some of
considerat că este
other
oportun să o
statements, I consider it to be
Eu vă
necessary and relevant.
Asta a fost.
Thank you.
Dacă eu greșesc, vă rog să mă corectați.
If
dar
I say
în
something wrong, please correct me,
declarația
but
obligatorie de
in
5 ani
your
pe care ați
mandatory declaration
prezentat-o
for 5
Comisiei
years that you
pentru
have presented to the
perioada
Commission for
2011-2017, nu ați
2011-2017,
indicat nicio
you have not
donație,
indicated
precum și nicio
any
economie
donation
casnică.
and
Vă
no
rog să
household
ne
saving.
confirmați sau
Please
să ne
confirm
infirmați
us
dacă
or
totuși în perioada de
deny
reședință ați avut
whether in that
ați
reference
recepționat
period
donații
you
sau
have
ați dispus de
received
economii
some
de-
donations or had some savings.
Da,
in.
eu nu am indicat cu
Yes.
certitudine careva
I surely
economii.
have not indicated
Pentru
some
că
savings
Nu, deci iarăși, cu riscul de a mă repeta, dar
because
nu am
maybe I
dus o
risk
strictă
to
evidență
say it
economică
again,
în
but I
acest
did
sens
not keep
și nu
a
eram
strict
subiectul unor declarări
record
de avere.
of the
Dar ulterior,
savings,
iată,
and I was not
ceea
subject
ce
to declaration
astăzi,
of
văzând
assets. But
Deci, neconcordanțele
when
care
I
ulterior
saw
le-am
the
depistat și eu cu mare
inconsistencies that I also
am
identified
decis
in
să fac
surprise,
totuși
I
un tabel
still decided to draft a table
în care
in
am
which
indicat
I have
toate economiile
indicated
plus minus.
all my estimated savings,
Deci
more or
la
less,
sfârșitul fiecărui
at
an
the end of
calendaristic,
every calendar
începând cu anul
year
chiar
starting
2010.
from
Eu am făcut așa un exercițiu.
2010. I've had such an
Ca
exercise.
să,
So,
deoarece economiile din anul 2010,
because the
chiar
savings
dacă
from
vin în minus
2010,
acelui
even
an,
though
ele
it's
se plusează ca
deficit,
venituri la ulteriorul
they are
an.
added as income to the
Și
next year.
Asta a fost. Deci
this was it.
le-am transmis
I have
comisiei
recently sent
scris,
this
dar
document to the
le-am
Commission
toate
on USB key,
în fața
but
mea,
I
profilate
have all of
pe
them
foaie. Am indicat
in
doar
front of me on
ca
the paper.
donație, deci ca și donație. Am
And
indicat doar
as
ceea
donations,
ce
donation,
a
I
indicat
indicated
doamna
only what
Curicilena
Madam
pentru
Curicilena
Curicilie, că
mentioned for
tatăl i-a
Curici
adunat
Iuri,
băieții și le-a dat
saying
niște
that the
bani.
father has gathered all his
Deci
sons
asta doar
together
a fost
and
reflectat
we given them some money.
suplimentar. În rest au fost
This was
economii.
additional. For the rest,
Asta e
these
unica
were
donație în perioada de
savings.
referire.
This is the only donation in that
Da,
reference
da,
period.
da, da.
Yes.
Nume 2011 și 2017.
I mean for
dacă nu-
2011-2017,
Da, da, da.
if I'm not mistaken.
Asta
Yes.
unică ce a putut fi.
This is
Și
the only
comisia
one
probabil
that was
s-a
then.
convins,
And
s-a
I think that
văzut
the Commission
veniturile mele,
saw
ele
that
acoperă
my
totalmente
incomes
atât
fully cover
cheltuielile cât și în
both
surplus, mai ales cele
the expenses,
anterioare
and
anului
there is still
2014.
an amount
Și
left,
ulterior.
especially for 2014 and even
Eu vă
later.
mulțumesc. Până
Thank
să
you.
trecem la blocul următor de
Before
subiecte,
moving
să
on
rog
to the
colega
next set of questions,
noastră,
I will
doamna
ask
Lovely, să continue
my colleague,
chestiunile
Madame
cu
Lovely, to
segmentul financiar.
continue the questions on the financial part.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mrs. Aliona. And I continue where my colleague stopped. First of all, I would like to ask, you explained why you provided the document, the declaration yesterday. My first question is, why you provided us document about expenses today? We started evaluation process 30th of October 2023. Just my question, why? Why today?
Deci astăzi
Why today?
eu, deci, mi s-a comunicat sau eu,
I was
cum am
informed
înțeles eu, nu
the
era
way I
understood this, it was
obligatorie
not
perioada 2011-2017,
mandatory to have this period,
eu nefiind, de
2011-2017,
fapt, nici până în prezent subiect al
because
declarațiilor de
I'm
avere.
not even now a
Și
subject
de
of
aceea
the
mi-a luat
declaration
ceva
of
timp ca să
assets, and
caut acte.
it
ca
took
să
some
prezint,
time to
a
look for
apărut această
documents.
necesitate când,
So this need
am
arose
depistat
when I
membrii comisiei
saw that the
au
members of
văzut un
the
rezultat
commission
negativ în anul 2014.
had identified
Și
a
am
negative result
încercat
in
să fac un
2014,
exercițiu
and
ca
I
să
tried
explic
to
că, de fapt,
explain that
nu există un
actually
rezultat negativ,
there is
nici în anul
no
2014.
negative result, not even in 2014.
Okay. Next topic, inexplicable wealth. Let's talk about the years from 2014-22 period. Mainly your income came from legal assistance as a lawyer and donation from family members. Do you agree?
Da.
Thank you.
Yes.
According to analysis of income and the expenses carried out by Commission, you and your husband were identified to have potential negative balance 17,113 lei in 2014, 113,519 lei in 2018, and minus 52,257 lei in 2021. The total amount of negative balance accumulated by you and your family during the evaluation period is 182,889 lei. Do you agree? All the calculations are in your hand. My question is very simple. Do you agree?
Conform calculelor care au fost
According to the
indicate
calculations that were
divergențe,
indicated
da,
in the
această
inconsistencies,
sumă este indicată.
yes, this amount is indicated
Este
there.
cazul să explic
Should I explain,
sau ulterior?
or will we go later to this?
Da,
First of all, do you agree or no with the calculation?
Da, da.
You agree with calculation. Very good. And would you like to explain now?
Da, eu aș vrea să
Yes,
explic.
I would like to
Într-un fel sunt de
explain.
acord cu calculele.
In one way,
deci,
I agree
dat
with the
fiind faptul
calculations,
că
given the fact
eu anterior nu
that
am prezentat
previously I did not
deci niște
send
economii făcute
or
pe
I did not
parcursul
mention
anilor
some
anterioare.
savings that I had in the
Dacă
previous
facem o
years.
evaluare,
But if we were to
anilor
assess
anterior,
the previous
deci eu am-
years,
la sfârșitul anului 2000,
At the end-
deci dacă vedeți,
So, you can
eu am avut
see that
tot timpul 150,
I always had approximately 150,000, 200,000 as a salary as legal specialist. And I worked in different companies. If we were to calculate starting 2010,
Could
So-
you clarify, please, candidate, what kind of savings you talk about? Please tell us the year and the amount of the savings.
Economie în numerar. Haideți așa.
savings
pornim,
in
2010.
cash. So let's start with
Let's talk about
2010.
year.
Economie în numerar 25.000. Așa,
2010,
care sunt transferabile pentru
25,000
începutul anului
lei
2011.
that can be used in 2011. Later,
Nu a fost indicată suma
the
impozitului spre
amount
rambursare, care
of
este
the
indicată în declarațiile
taxes
pe venit
that
pentru
were
anul
reimbursed
2000 anterior.
for the previous
4.201
year,
lei. Mai
4,201
departe, deci la sfârșitul
4,201 lei.
2011
At the end
facem
of
o economie de 75.000
2011,
în numerar.
we have a saving of 75,000 in
CCP-ul pe 2011
cash.
pentru
With
trei
the
persoane,
CCP for 2011,
67.298,40.
67,298. At the end, for this
incomes
incomes, we have expenses of 142,940. And we have a difference at the end of 2011. If we were to report this to 2012, we have
Sorry, candidate,
75,000
Would you
in cash.
clarify where you take your numbers now?
Aceste cifre le iau din
These
veniturile
figures
mele
are based on my
salariale. Pentru
salary
ani și aveți
for,
la materialele
and you
cauze,
have
aveți
in
ceturile
the
toate
materials
raportate de către
all
mine
the SCTs
pentru
that
acești
I
ani.
reported for these years.
Declarațiile
So the
de venituri
declarations
salariale
of
care
income,
le-am
the
completat, am
salaries,
plătit
this
impozit
is what I
și-
filled in. I paid taxes.
Clipă.
Just a moment.
O clipă. Eu am scos din materiale.
Let me take out the material.
Așa. Le-am repartizat pe ani.
So I split them by years.
Începem de la 2014.
So let's start with 2014. I'll find it now.
Eu nu știu la ce pagină, dar asta sunt...
I don't know what page it is on. One clarification question. Are you presenting new information on the income or the figures?
Cifrele care au fost
The
calculate de
figures
comisie au
that were
fost
calculated
fără
by the
de a lua în
Commission
calcul pe
did
anul
not take into
2014
account for 2014
economiile mele personale
my
din
personal
salariile
savings
anterioare,
from the
care am
salary
avut
I
posibilitatea
received
să le
previously.
fac.
Adică economii din salarii.
So savings from the
Mrs. Candidate,
salary.
could you please check your screen? In front of your are your answers.
Așa.
You confirm to chairperson that you confirm that all the information what you have provided, that's true. You have given us explanations. Would you like to change your explanation or do you confirm them now?
Nu, eu am zis că completez.
I'm
Deci,
saying that
acest
I'm
calcul,
adding
eu am solicitat, apropo, tot ieri,
for this calculation.
să-mi se prezinte
I
tabelele cum au fost
asked
calculate,
yesterday
pentru
to
că
have
deci
the
și
tables with the
completez acest
calculations.
calcul,
So I'm adding to
deoarece
these
la noi,
calculations
în 2014,
because in
este
2014
zero la economie,
we have
pe când,
zero
conform
in the line
calculelor
with
mele, în
savings,
2014,
but
de
according to
acum la
my
începutul
calculations,
anului, eu aveam
at the
niște
beginning of
economii.
2014, I
Dacă
had
noi
some
vedem
savings.
perioadele de referință
But
2011,
if we look at the reference period
am niște
2011,
venituri, deci,
we have here
2012,
some
am
incomes.
niște venituri salariale
In 2012,
considerabile,
I have
2013,
a
până
considerable amount from
deci,
my salary.
această perioadă sunt venituri considerabile
So
din care am putut să
these
fac
are considerable
economii.
amounts, and I was able to make some savings in this period.
Sorry, but I repeat my questions. You see your answers on the screen. Is it some kind of new information what you would like to provide now?
She doesn't understand English, so she has the English version.
Numbers, and yeah, we can change.
Deci, m-ați întrebat de perioada 2014.
You asked about
Aici
2014.
nu este reflectată perioada 2014.
Here I
ce
don't
economie.
see 2014, the
reflectat
savings for
perioada
2014.
2018, sfârșitul
This
anului.
is for 2018, the end of the year, 2019, 2020,
Dar începutul
up to
anului nu s-a
2022.
reflectat
But
economiile care pot
the
să fie
savings
transferabile
that
pentru
can be
începutul
transferred
ulteriorului an.
for the beginning of the next year were not reflected.
Absolutely. That's why we
Deci,
asked
da,
about.
așa am
That's why we ask about the period 2014-2022 and all the years separately in front of you. And my question is,
Deci
would you like to
am scris
add-
din 2010,
So I mentioned
2017, eu chiar cu certitudine
From
nu țin
2010
minte.
until
Am făcut
2017,
un
I don't remember
exercițiu de
exactly.
logică și de
I
memorie,
made an exercise of logic
am
and
forțat
memory,
un pic, și am făcut tabelul ulterior.
and
Dar
I drew
chiar
up this
este și am
table.
scris că este o perioadă
And
foarte
I wrote that
mare de timp
this is a
ca să
large, vast
pot
amount
să
of
îmi
time,
readuc în memorie cu certitudine și
it's
cu
difficult to
exactitate
remember
absolută
exactly
câte economii am avut, dar salariile
the
deci
amount
le-am
of
primit,
savings, but the salaries
borderoului, cu
were
semnătură.
received according to the
Am
documents.
depus declarații, s-au depus
With the signature,
declarații
I submitted the
întreprinderile
declarations,
care-
and also the companies submitted the declarations. I don't know how to
Și,
explain.
ulterior, făcând un memoriu
And
deci chiar
Later,
un exercițiu conform
I tried to do this exercise.
tabelelor stabilite de către
according to
Comisie.
the tables
Deci am constatat
drawn up
că
by the
eu
Commission,
aveam
and
posibilitatea
I
și
understood
chiar am
that
avut
I had
niște
the possibility, and
venituri
I actually
anterior
had some
anul și
incomes
2014 și
before
anterior anului
2014
2018.
and before
Do I
2018.
understand correctly? You remembered now savings from 2014. I understand. It's absolutely, I understand. It's difficult to remember.
Eu nu am exclus,
I do
când și-am
not
răspuns, eu nu am
exclude, so
exclus
when
că aveam
I
niște
answered, I
economii,
did not
dar
exclude the
concret
fact
pe ani,
that I had some
fiecare
savings,
an.
but
Deci,
specifically for each
nu puteam
year,
indica cu certitudine.
I could
Mai
not
cu seamă că nu puteam
specify
indica cu
exactly,
certitudine economiile domnului Curici, care
especially
nici nu
the
declară
savings of Mr.
veniturile lui
Kuric
și
or
din
his
anumite
incomes
considerente care le-am indicat eu.
due to the reasons I
Asta așa, ce a
mentioned.
dorit el să-mi spui
So this is
pentru
what
ulteriorii ani,
he
prima
wanted to
perioadă,
tell me for the first
2018,
period,
2022,
2018, 2012,
Să fic bănat, a zis că să mă leși
For
în
the
pace.
rest, I'm sorry, but he said, give me a
Pentru
break.
concretizare.
Da.
Dacă aceste, sau în situația în care
I want
aceste
to
salarii
clarify.
au fost oficiale,
Since
legale,
these salaries
impozitate,
were legal,
atunci ele
official,
urmează să fie
untaxable,
reflectate cel puțin în
they
două
should
baze
be
de date.
into
Națională
databases
și cea a
of the
serviciilor fiscale.
National House of Insurance
Sunt
and the
toate
Tax
și aveți
Service.
actele.
Yes, and you have the
Deci eu am
documents.
de ce și am început din anii precedenți.
This is why I started
anume
with the
cu
previous years,
salariile mele.
based on
Iată, în
my
anul
salaries.
2011,
In 2011, 171,000, more than 171,000
Așa, anul 2012, salariul,
salaries cash.
219.069 de lei.
Then
0,1 bani. Reflectat în declarație.
219,069 lei.
Poate
So these are
verifica
in the
Comisia și
declarations, and
vede
the Commission
acoperirea.
can check.
O claritate.
Just to
Comisia a
clarify,
calculat după
the
aceste
Commission
venituri. Sunt
calculated
corecte,
based on
dumneavoastră
these
acum afirmați
incomes.
că
Are these correct? Now you are
ați
stating
avut potențiale economii din
that
acest salariu
out of
anual.
these salaries,
Însă, în runda de
you
întrebări
might
în
have had
formă
some
scrisă,
savings.
dumneavoastră ați
But in
indicat
the
că perioada
rounds
2010
of written
până în
questions,
2007
you
nu ați
mentioned
avut
that
economii.
since
Nu, eu
2010
nu am
until
indicat. Eu am zis că
2017, you did
nu
not have
ți-am
savings.
Nu
No,
mi-amintesc
I said that I
exact.
don't remember
Nu mi-amintesc
exactly.
exact. Că nu am fost subiect al declarării.
Because I was
Asta a fost.
not
Poate nu am fost-
subject
poate
to
eu nu am înțeles corect
submitting
întrebarea.
declarations.
Dar asta a fost
Maybe
ideea.
I did not understand the question.
Ulterior am fost- da,
And now
da,
you say that
da,
you
și
have
informații
these
noi.
savings.
Da,
So
și asta
basically
se
this is
vede
new
din,
information. Yes, and this
deci
can
din
be
toate,
seen
declarațiile
in
cu
all
toți
the
anii,
declarations
am avut
for
deplin
all the
potențial
years
să fac aceste economii,
that I had
chiar
the
și
potential
cu,
to make these savings,
calculul unui
even
deci,
if we
cheltuieli de
take
consum
into account
mediu,
these living
chiar și
expenses,
mediu, pentru toate persoanele.
average
Deși
living
nu am
expenses
suportat
for
pentru
everyone,
toate persoanele, dar
for all
chiar
the
și
persons,
în-
even if I
și
did not
într-un
incur these
potențial
expenses for all
calcul
persons.
mediu,
But even if we
deci,
take this
acoperă toate
average,
cheltuielile și rămân în
it
plus.
covers all the expenses, and we still have some amount left.
Candidate, would you like to provide some kind of new calculations now, or
Le-am oferit la începutul
I did
dialogului
at the beginning
nostru,
of
la
our
începutul
dialogue,
audierilor,
at the beginning of the hearing,
sticul cu
I've
calculele acestea,
given the
care
USB
reflectă-
with these
okay? Thank you.
calculations.
That means that your new calculation today you provided us. Is it correct? Not only documents about the expenses.
Le-am concretizat, așa să zicem.
So I
Le-am concretizat
clarified,
sub aspectul
so to say. So
posibilității
I made some clarifications,
economiilor reale
saying that
și nu
there was the
altceva.
possibility to have some savings, real savings.
My question, we still talk about inexplicable wealth from 2014 to 2021. Could you please list all of your sources? You don't need the papers for that. Could you please list all your sources of your income between 2014 to 2018?
Da, deci activitatea
Yes.
de avocat din
Practicing
2014
as a lawyer
și unele restanțe
since
salariale care le-am
2014,
avut
and some
fiind în
pending
calitate
salaries that
de
I had
jurist la întreprinderi.
as a legal specialist
S-au
in
format, am
different
lucrat și
companies.
cu întreprinderi
So
care
I worked with
erau
companies
în procedura de
that
lichidare
were
2014.
in insolvency or bankruptcy.
From 2014.
Deci 2014,
2014,
deci activitatea,
so
venitul
my
de avocat,
incomes as
55.531,
lawyer,
cum am zis, da? Venitul de la procedura de
55,531,
insolvență,
the
așa, 1970 de lei.
incomes from the insolvency procedure.
Și dacă vorbim de
And
venituri
if we
și în
were to
calitate de
discuss about incomes
economii,
as,
and
as savings,
aici nu urmează a fi zero, dar
we don't have
economii
zero
salariate
here.
fapt
We have some
salariale din
savings
salariile anterioare.
from the previous salaries that I received. I hope that was clear.
Could you please list all the sources of your income between 2014-2018? Income as lawyer, the first source. The second one, please.
Venituri din ca avocat, a
Income
doua sursă,
as lawyer, the
instanțele
second source,
salariale.
pending
Anterioare.
salaries. So salaries that are not paid on time.
La noi un șir de întreprinderi
We
nu le-au
have
plătit fiind eu activând
some
până
companies that did not
până
pay
în
for.
2012.
So I worked
în calitate de
until
avocat,
2012
mă scuzați, în calitate de jurist,
as a legal
nu
specialist,
toate
and
întreprinderile și-au
not
onorat
all the
obligațiile
companies
salariale față de
paid
mine.
me
Eu am avut
the
chiar și două
salary.
litigi în
I
acest sens, ca să-mi
actually had to
recuperez
dispute
sumele
in order to
salariale.
recover these wages.
Și, deci, pe parcursul ulteriorilor ani, în măsura în
in
care
the following
ei vindeau
years,
activele
as
sau
they
știu
were
eu
selling
cum
their
dobândeau
assets
ei și mai
or
vindeau niște
they were
bunuri ale
getting
lor,
some
se achitau
money
foștii
for their goods,
salariați.
they would pay for
Asta a
their
fost.
former employees.
Alte venituri...
Regarding
From 2014, you received your lawyer license. Yes. From 2014, you registered the lawyer office CIOCANU Aliona. Is it correct?
Da, așa este.
yes, this is true.
So, one of the sources was your salary or income
Onorariu.
as lawyer.
Onorariu, da.
Could you
Yes, my fees.
say us, did you have any additional sources for income between 2014-2018?
Adiționale...
Additional,
ce se are în vedere?
what do you mean
Doar
by
explic.
additional? I'm
Am
just
additional sources of income. You're a lawyer, you know what I ask.
Păi, adițional este doar restanța salarială.
this is
Asta
only
e
the wage
altceva nu.
arrears.
Restanța
So
salarială
this
din anii
was
ulteriori, când
only
încă
the
nu eram
salaries
avocat.
from the previous years when I was not a lawyer. The pending ones that I hadn't received on time.
Ms. CIOCANU, you've referenced salaries from previous years from a company that was, I believe, insolvent. Is that what is identified in the notices we've sent you, and I believe in your answers, as income from the insolvency proceeding of the company Valutex?
Deci, de fapt, salariile nici nu se
Well,
trag din
actually,
procedura de
the
insolvență,
wages, the salaries
insolvabile
are not
ulterior.
deriving from
Din
the insolvency
procedura
procedure. They
când,
have become
deci,
insolvent
conform
later
hotărârii
on.
adunării generale
And
a
following the
acționarilor,
procedure according to
s-a decis
the decision
de a
of the General
lichida
Assembly
aceste
of the
companii și eu
shareholders,
am
it was
lucrat
decided to
încă,
liquidate
continuam
those
să
companies,
lucrez
but I
în
will
calitate
continue
de
to
jurist,
work as a lawyer
până am luat licența de avocat.
before taking my license of lawyers.
But is the income that is related to the Valutex, is that what you've described as wages owed to you from past work?
Nu,
What is that?
nu, TVA nu se plătește.
So you mean
la
the
persoane-
VAT? No, VAT
nu
is
se
not
percepe de la persoane fizice. Asta
perceived
este
from
salariul.
natural
Și
entities.
se
This is their
taxează
salary,
conform,
and
salari-
it is
sumelor salariale.
paid according to
Adică
the
se
salary
achită,
amount.
Fondul social,
So it's paid the social fund, medical insurance, tax income, everything is reflected, all is reflected in my declarations. So in the tax documents that that were presented.
Se includ
These incomes are included in those
Nu,
data.
ele se includ în documentele
No,
fiscale
they're
doar la
included in the
momentul
tax
primirii
documents
banilor.
only when receiving the money.
prezentat
da.
comisia dumneavoastră, ele se
Da.
includ?
But in the documents that the Commission presented to you, these are included. Yes.
Atunci
Și
comisia a
comisia
luat-
le-a depistat și
And the
le-a
Commission
luat
has
în calcul.
identified them and took them into
confirmăm.
calculation. Yes, you confirmed this. Yes,
Comisia
I
le-a
agree.
luat în
The
calcul
Commission took this
acele
into
care au fost
consideration.
primite din
Those
anul
that were
2000.
received from
14,
2014, if I remember correctly, and till
le-a luat în calcul, conform
some year later.
informației
Yes, they took it into
Serviciului Fiscal de Stat.
consideration,
Da,
but it was
obligatoriu.
taken into consideration from the STS, State Tax Service.
Miss Candidate, which period your new calculation cover? You just provided us new calculation, new document. Which period?
Deci 11, 12, 13,
2011, 12 till
și începutul anului
the beginning
2018.
of 2018.
Pentru că s-au omis aici. Nu avea
Because some
comisia
things
la
were omitted here. The
dispoziție
Commission did not
calculele
have
mele de
available my
anul
calculation at the end of the year
2017 și
2017
începutul respectiv anul
and the
2018.
beginning of the year 2018.
Și corectări, sau mai bine zis explicații,
And corrections,
pentru
or
anul
better to say
2021,
explanations for the
în
year
care, de asemenea,
2021, in
s-au
which we
depistat niște,
some
incoerențe,
inconsistencies were
anume
identified
sub aspectul
in
am
terms
prezentat
of whether,
acte care confirmă
speaking that I have presented some documents
cheltuielile
confirming
reale
the
pentru
real
toate
expenses
serviciile
for
care
all
le-am
the services I paid for.
But let's talk about the year 2021. According to tax office information, in 2021 you had net income 19,882. You have numbers, yes, lei, for practicing law as a lawyer, and 61,562 lei income from the insolvency procedure of a Flautax company. Yeah? You also declared that you received 150,000 lei donation from your father, and Yuri Kurici received 20,000 lei income for manual labor. The total declared cash and bank savings for both you and your husband amounted 212,197 lei. That means that the total income, financial flow for 2021 was 463,641 lei. But the total outgoing financial flow for 2021 was minus 515,898. That means that in 2021, the outgoing financial flow was higher than incoming financial flow, with a negative balance 52,257 lei. Could you say what is your explanation? What was the reason? Or maybe my first question again is, do you agree with the calculation from 2021? Yes or no, please?
Nu, sunt unele divergențe.
No, there are some discrepancies between my calculations and calculations of the Commission.
Okay, but does it mean that you also provided calculation about 2021?
Da.
Okay, you changed your...
Yes.
Da, anume sub aspectul, cum am
Yes,
explicat
especially
anterior,
as
am
I
toate
explained
actele
previously, I have
ține
all
de
the documents
serviciile
related
comunale
to the utilities
și anume,
paid, and
deci,
especially,
într-un moment,
okay, one
pe
more
site-ul,
thing.
Statisticii,
On the
deci, eu am
statistical
găsit,
website, there I found basically slightly different sums, amounts in the CCP, but this is a difference of about 10,000 lei between what is indicated in this CCP of 102,000 lei and what is indicated on the statistics website. It's 3,834 for one person, multiplied by the number of persons and multiplied by the number of months. So, and the result, we have a difference between the official data and my calculations is this difference of 10,000 lei. Okay, let's suppose this is it. We admit it. But actually, this CCP calculation or expenses involved another amount or amounted to a different sum. For utilities and transportation, I have used 26,631 lei, and for the food, I did not go beyond the amount of 20,000 lei, which means actually that we are fitting in the amount of for the expenses of about 40,000. Sorry. 663, 663, and if putting this in relation to other expenses identified by the Commission, well, actually we have this difference of 515,898, but we have this expense of 406,900 lei. So if we look at this deficit, we have a positive difference of 56,653.
Mrs. CIOCANU, I have a very simple question. You didn't declare previously any cash savings before 2018. Why?
I don't know. I could not answer to this question, I believe.
Only you know the answer. Why you have not declared any savings before 2014, from 13th of October when we started evaluation process?
As I understood, the question was if do you remember about the savings previously you had? So I was not able to sit and just start calculating and remembering, because indeed it is very hard when you don't put this on paper and you don't keep record, a written record of everything. When you are subject to reporting process, you keep a strict record, but my status of non-reporting person made me feel not so strict about the expenses, not keep this record. But now, when I saw all these forms for these declarations, I understood that indeed I had savings and I had real savings.
Did you check some kind of sources? Maybe you found some news bank account, or how you remember now the savings?
By looking through the declarations, I identified those seller-related declarations. The Commission has found them actually and presented to me on a USB stick. And I really understood that I had some real money received and I did not use so much of them. Other sources except for those declared, I don't have. I believe that the Commission will get convinced that the amounts declared are not small. And it was real for me to have some savings. Especially that salary is not an opportunity or an obligation to be saved or kept in a bank account.
Thank you for the answer about inexplicable wealth. I would like to ask some question about the donations, which with questions which my colleague started. Simple questions. You agreed that you got the donation. My question is, was it for a specific purpose? Yeah, I know the answer of your father, but what about mother of your husband? Was it some kind of specific purpose or just as a gift? The donations, yeah.
Of the husband, yes, those 100,000. So this was the decision of his mother. Actually, she has also explained in his declaration on her own responsibility that she gave this amount to him eventually. As far as I know, this money is kept, because I discussed with Madame Curicilena, this money is still preserved on an account, but they were transferred from her account to the account of Mr. Curiciurie. So that in case it is needed, or the boys should not have to wait to open this succession procedure or to have another procedure to be conducted, but to be sure that they will be able to conduct all the procedure related to the funerals. Thanks God she's still living, but take into account that, as she said, I'm a person with disabilities and I have a specific age already. I would not like my boys to run at that moment looking for money or for this event or to try to solve the issue with the funerals. So she made sure that the money will be ready when needed for this specific purpose.
Thank you. As here we talk about donations, one more question about Margareta Morari. What kind of relationships your father had with Margareta Morari? Why he donated her, similarly as you and your sister with land plots?
So Margareta Morar is the daughter of my father, is the older daughter, and it was his decision to donate to her this land plot so during his lifetime to give her part of his assets that he had. It was his decision.
It's okay. Yes, don't worry. Thank you for answering. And my question is, do you know, is the land plot the only way to donate Morani, Margareta, or maybe there are some other donations for Margareta Morari?
I do not know for sure if there were some other donations to her, but from the real estate items, this was it only. Between us, there is a significant difference in terms of age, and we are keeping the decency and distance in our relationships.
Thank you. No more questions about the donation. I give the floor to my colleague.
Madam Aliona, please let's go back a little bit to the financial component. When you say that you have these wage arrears, you speak about those 60,000 lei from the insolvency of Flowtex, or you had some other arrears for your wages or pending wages to be paid? And if yes, for what year and when were these paid?
a fost, eu nu mi-amintesc acum cu certitudine.
I do not remember now exactly, but I had the wage arrears for the articole beton armat and company for concrete items and for this Flotex company.
Mai de mult timp colaboram cu aceste
I know this because I was working for these companies for a longer period of time. I was an employee actually, and they always had financial problems.
Și aceste restanțe,
And
din câte mi-amintesc
as far as I
eu,
remember, these
la
areas, these
au
debts
apărut,
from
că mi-au mai existat
Flotex
ceva salarii, dar au început a apărea
started
undeva
to
prin
occur
anul
in
2008
approximately
sau 9.
2008 or 9.
Și la articole de beton armat,
And for
certitudine,
the
știu
company
că
for
a fost o
concrete
criză în construcții,
items,
deoarece
I know that there
articole
was
de
a
beton armat
crisis
se
in
ocupa
construction because this company
domeniul
was working in the
construcției.
construction
În 2008 a
field
apărut. Și
from
iată, de
2008 when it was
atunci
established.
s-au început la ei din 2008
So in 2008, actually,
probleme
the
financiare
financial
și
issues started,
rețineau
and they
salariile,
were delaying with the payment of
ori dădeau
salaries
parțial,
or
ori
paying them
nu
partially
dădeau,
or
puteau să nu-
not paying
deci nu plătească salariul luni întregi.
the wages for entire months.
Pe mine nu m-a afectat într-un fel.
This did not affect me
lucrul ăsta,
in
deoarece
some
din
kind of
câte
way,
a văzut
this thing,
comisia,
because
eu,
as far as the
deci,
Commission has
aveam
seen,
activități și la alte întreprinderi.
I was working with the other companies also.
Deci, Flotex
So
va achitat restanța în
Flotex
2021.
has paid
În
this debt in
2021
2021, all of it, and
Beton
the company
armat,
for concrete
așa și-a rămas
items,
cu o restanță
actually they
nestinsă,
have
deoarece eu când m-am
an
adresat
unpaid
în
debt
instanță
to
de
me because when I went to
dreptate,
court
instanța
with
considera
this,
că e
the court
tardiv de
considered to be late to have
Vă
this procedure
Cred că
sent
trecem
to
la
court.
următorul bloc de
Okay,
întrebări.
thank you. Let's go to the
Și din
next
punctul
block
meu
of
de vedere,
questions.
următoarea
And
întrebare
from my
relevantă
point
este
of view, the
despre
next relevant question
automobilul
is about
Renault
the
Captur,
car
care
Renault
a fost
Captur
introdus
that
în
was
Republica Moldova la
brought to
19
Moldova
februarie
on the 19th
2021.
of February 2021.
Din explicațiile pe care le-ați oferit
From the
comisiei,
explanations
acest
you provided to the
automobil
Commission,
costă
this car
60.000
is
de
worth
lei și a fost
60,000
introdus de
lei,
către
and
un
it was
apropiat coleg, prieten al
brought to
familiei.
Moldova by
de
a
Vamar.
friend of your company,
Și
paid
toate
the
aceste
clearance
costuri nu au depășit
taxes, and all these
60.000 de lei.
costs did not
În
go
același
beyond
timp,
60,000
potrivit
lei.
actelor
But
serviciului Vamal,
at the same time, according to the tax
automobilul respectiv a
service,
fost
that
evaluat
car
la
was
prezentarea acestea
evaluated when it was
Vamă la
presented at
85.000
the
de lei,
custom service
fiindu-i stabilită
to about
taxa de import
85,000 lei, and the
21.000
import tax
de lei,
being established
71 de
of
bani.
about more than 21,000 lei.
Prețul automobilului
Per
plus
total, the price of
taxa
the
de
car
devamare
plus the clearance
constituie
tax
106.000 lei.
amounts to
Deci aici se
106,000
naște
lei.
o
And
mică,
here
mare discrepanță
it
dintre
results
subiectul
a
în
large
discuție și
discrepancy
explicațiile
between the
oferite comisiei.
subject of the discussion and the explanations provided
Deci
to the
dacă
Commission.
automobilul costa 60.000
So if
de
the car
lei,
was worth 60,000 lei,
taxa de devamare să fie
the
20.000
clearance
de
tax
lei,
could
pentru că
not be
atunci
20,000
vămuirea
lei,
unui
because then the
automobil
clearance
înseamnă
of
costul
the car
o treime din prețul mașinii,
amounts to
ceea ce nu-
1/3 of the
nu
price
este
of the
adevărat.
car, which is not real in this
La
case.
fel, în explicații
And
dumneavoastră ați spus că
also in your
probabil
explanation, you said that
serviciul
probably
vamal a aplicat
the
metoda
custom service has applied
statistică.
the statistical method,
Dar în același timp
but at the
și
same
codul
time,
vamal și legea cu privire
the
la taxele vamale
customs code
descrie
and the
cel
law
ca o
on the
metodă de
custom taxes
stabilire a
describes
costului mare. Pentru automobile,
several
cea mai
methods for
populară
establishing the
este
price of the
indicele
car. And for the cars,
tranzacții
the
cu mărfuri identice
most
sau
popular
tranzacții cu mărfuri
is the index
similare.
for transaction
Deci noi
with
putem să
identical
excludem metoda
goods or
statistică
similar
și
goods.
putem opera cu
So
cifre
we
reale.
know this, and we can operate with
Colaboratorul
real
vamal,
figures.
văzând automobilul,
The
i-a făcut o
customs officer,
apreciere,
by seeing the car,
a
has made an estimate,
citit, a investigat
has
actele pe care le-a
investigated the
prezentat
documents presented
deci șoferul
by the driver,
și a stabilit costul de 85.000
and they
de
established
lei.
the cost amounting to
Aplicându-i taxa de import
85,000 lei,
21.000
and with
de
the
lei. Vă rog
tax
să
of import
ne aduceți
of
concretizări în
21,000
privința
lei.
costului
Please, could
real
you
al acestui
detail on the
automobil.
real cost of this car?
am considerat că este oportun
I consider
de
that
a lua o
it's a good idea
explicație proprie răspundere de la
to
vânzător.
have an explanation on their own
Pentru
responsibility
a
from the
justifica că,
seller,
într-adevăr, mi-a vândut
so that
acest
they
automobil la
specify
prețul
that they
de
indeed
60.000 de lei.
sold me this car
Suplimentar ce
for
aș mai putea să
60,000
adaug?
lei.
Într-adevăr,
What could I
serviciul nostru
add?
vamal lucrează
Indeed,
bine,
our
bravo.
customs service
E lăudabil
is
faptul
working
pentru că de la
well.
costul
It's commendable
automobilului se
that
percep taxe.
they
Și
take
nu a
taxes
ținut
for
cont
this.
serviciul vamal nici măcar
But
de contractul care tot l-a
Customs
autentificat.
service
Vedem aici
did not take into account
ștampila de
the
autentificare a
contract.
serviciului vamal.
We see here the stamp,
La
certifying stamp from the
intrarea în vamă,
customs service.
automobilul a fost
That
prezentat la prețul
at
de
the entrance in
2200
customs,
de euro. Ceea ce
the
constituie, cum
car
am
was
socotit, iată,
presented
este
for
indicat și în
2,200
actele
euros.
comisiei,
And
46.200
this
de
means
lei.
46,200 lei.
Și serviciul vamal nu
So
a
the
ținut cont
customs service
de
did not take into
toate
account
defecțiunile, deși a indicat că
all
este
the
un
defects,
automobil uzat,
although it was
dar
mentioned that this
nu
was
a
a
indicat
second-hand
în
car,
sub ce aspect și cât e
but
uzura și
it wasn't mentioned
o evaluare așa
how
cum ar
used
face
it was,
evaluatorul.
and
Eu,
this
de
was
fapt,
not an assessment
nici
as a
nu
real
am
assessor
avut
would do.
scop, pentru că m-ar costa niște bani
So
ca să fac
it
o
would
evaluare la un
cost
evaluator
to have
independent.
an
Nu am
assessment
considerat
with
necesar
an
de a mai
independent
face o astfel de
assessor,
evaluare.
so I
Dar
considered it
dacă
was not
serviciul vamal
needed.
s-ar
But
conduce de
if the
actele
customs
care au fost
service
prezentate în
would
vamă,
use the
deci
documents
ar
that
fi
were
fost
presented
indicate,
to them,
să zicem, 46.200
there
de lei. Și din
we
aceasta
had
trebuie să
46,200 lei.
perceapă taxele.
And
Da,
this is the amount
mai
for
este
which the
un
taxes should
moment,
be paid.
că la importarea în
And
țările
this is
non-UE,
another
poate fi
important
restituit
aspect.
și TVA-ul
The
de la costul
VAT can be
automobilului.
returned
Și
when
probabil
importing
că
from to non-EU countries.
Vânzătorul a mai
And maybe
beneficiat și
the
o
seller
restituire a TVA,
also
așa că nu a
had
pierdut
this
nimic. Și când facem un
VAT
calcul,
return.
deci din
So
46.200
if we calculate
de lei,
out of this
scoatem
46,200, if we take out 21%
TVA, care,
VAT,
deci este TVA-ul la
so this is
exportul din
the
Lituania.
VAT for the export from
Și
Lithuania.
plus adăugăm chiar și
And
aceste
if we
21
add,
din
even if
219,
these
ieșim undeva
21,000,
la o sumă sub 60.000.
the amount is below 60,000.
Nu vă supărați pentru comentariu, dar serviciul
don't be
vamal
offended
ar fi
by,
prea naiv
but
să
the
accepte
customs
contractele pe care le
service
aduc
would be
șoferii
naive
din
to accept the
oricare
contracts
dintre
that the
statele lumii care ar
drivers
putea fi subestimate.
bring from any
Tocmai
of
de
the
ce inspectorii
states.
aplică taxele prevăzute de
This is
hotărârea
why
de
the
guvern și le prin taxele
inspectors
vamale.
apply the taxes in the
Pentru ca
government
să avem
decision
claritate pe
and in
acest
the
subiect,
customs
vă
documents.
invit și vă rog să intrăm în
And
niște
now I
detalii un
invite
pic
you
mai
to get
tehnice
into
ale acestui
more
automobil.
technical
Potrivit
details regarding
extrasului de la
this
serviciul
car.
vamal, acest
According to the
automobil
expert from the customs
are o
service,
capacitate
this
de 1500 de centimetri
car
cubi și
has
este cu motorizare diesel.
1,500
În
cubic
același timp, în
centimeters
explicațiile pe care
and is
le-ați
diesel.
adus comisiei, acest
According to your
automobil este
explanations, this
cu motorizare benzină
car
și are
is
o
on
capacitate de sub 1005 metri cubi și are un
gasoline
motor mic și pe
and it has
benzină.
a small engine.
Dat astfel de explicații, că eu nu cunosc
I did not give such
acele
explanations
detalii,
because
doar
I
pe
don't
că am
know
scris că
such
e
details.
motorină și că am
I
explicat
said
că
that it's
regulile
diesel,
țările Uniunii Europene
and
acum se
usually
străduie, este ca
the
și o decizie
EU
a
countries are
Comisiei
trying. There's
Parlamentare
also
care
a
se
decision of the Parliamentary
Europene
Commission
ca să mai
in the
reducă din
EU
numărul
to reduce the
automobilelor
number
cu motor
of
diesel ca să nu polueze
diesel
aerul.
cars
Din
in
cât
order to
cunosc
not
eu.
pollute.
A fost chiar și popularizat și în Republica
This was
Moldova acest
also
segment.
promoted in the Republic of Moldova.
Dacă eu greșesc, atunci
Then if I'm
ulterior
mistaken,
o să mă scuzați. Dar
you can
documentul
excuse
care
me.
explicația oferită în cadrul
But
rundei de
the
întrebări
explanation
vorbește
you
despre
offered
motorizare
in the round of
benzină.
questions,
Deci
you
subiectul
mentioned
acesta
the
Poate că
gasoline.
nu risc acum, mă
I
scuzați,
will
nu
not
risc acum să
risk
afirm cu
now
certitudine,
stating
dar
for
știu că am
sure,
dat și o explicație
but
anume de ce
I
diesel și motorină.
think I
Pot să vă
mentioned
reamintesc
why
că
it
în
was
acea
diesel
rubrică de
and not the
explicații
gasoline.
dumneavoastră ați spus că
Let me remind
el
you
era
that
fără
you said
baterie, era
that it had
accidentat,
no
fără coloraj
battery,
și
it
era
had
un
been in a
motor
crash,
benzină care este
and
net
the
mai ieftin,
engine
iar
was
acest
on
fapt
gasoline, which
explică
is
costul automobilului.
costs less,
Dar, în
and
fine,
this
eu
explains
am
for the
vrut
cost
să
of the
Probabil am
car.
greșit eu, cred că
Maybe I
n-am
was mistaken,
n-am scris corect.
maybe
Că e evident din acte că e
because it's clear from the documents.
motorină, am scris. Combustibilul
So,
care îl consumă
diesel, I
consumați
mentioned
al
under
treilea
fuel,
rând de sus.
diesel. It's the third row from
Da, da, cer
from
scuze.
up.
S-a tradus
From top.
probabil incorect.
Și
Maybe it
motivul
was
pentru care
translated incorrectly.
subliniez acest aspect, pentru că
I'm
potrivit
highlighting
codului
this
vamal
because
și legii
according to
taxelor
the,
vamale diferă costul de vamări.
Customs
Dar în orice caz,
documents,
costul de vamări
this
nu ar putea fi
influences
o
the
treime din
customs clearance cost.
costul automobilului.
Chiar nu pot da o explicație
I cannot
la acest moment.
give an explanation
Este
at this
afirmația
point.
mea că am plătit banii aceștia
This
și este
is
afirmația și
my statement that
vânzătorului
I
că a
paid this
primit
money,
acești
and
bani.
also have the statement
Mai
of
departe
the
n-am
seller
intrat
that
în
they
detalii.
received this money. I can't go into
Pentru
further details.
concretizare, deci,
In order to clarify,
Comisia la fel este în incertitudine
the
atunci când
Commission
examinează
is
subiectul
unclear
automobilului,
when
pentru că el
they
provine din
analyze
Republica
this topic
Franceză,
because
timpul în
they
care
are coming
contractele
from
vorbesc
the French
despre
Republic, but the
Republica
contracts
Lituaniană,
mention
care este totuși
Lithuanian
piața reală.
Republic.
Eu,
What
de
is the
fapt,
real country?
Am explicat asta într-un mod
So I explained this.
Pe mine m-au convins
So
că
I was
automobilul
persuaded
este
that the car
importat din
is
Franța.
imported from
Și mi-au
France.
adus și acte, am
And
prezentat
they
și comisiei
also
toate actele
gave me
care
documents, and I sent the
denotă
Commission
acest
on
fapt, de fapt.
the documents
De fapt,
stating
arată
this,
acest aspect.
showing this country of origin.
De ce a fost cumva antrenat un transportator
Why
lituanian?
was
Nu
a
știu.
Lithuanian transporter involved into this? This is something that I
Nu
don't know.
cunosc. Și de fapt nici nu știu dacă
And
ar trebui să mă
actually,
intereseze
I'm
pe
not
mine,
sure
până la
if
urmă,
I should be
ca și
interested
cumpărător,
as
cum este
buyer
adus.
how this is transported.
Am achitat o sumă, mi-am
I
primit
paid
marfa,
a certain amount,
marfa
I
este
received
individual
my
determinată,
order,
chiar dacă și sunt careva
and
automobile
even if
similare,
there are
dar,
similar
poate să nu aibă
cars,
aceleași defecte.
maybe
poate
they
să nu
don't have
aibă-
the same
Eu am
defects.
văzut postările comisiei.
I saw
uitați
the
ce frumos
posts of
sunt
the
aici.
Commission.
Automobile îngrijite,
Look
lustruite.
these
Am
shiny
împăcat
cars.
din asta de lustruit și atât de
Unfortunately, mine was not that
adus la
shiny
perfecțiune.
and perfect.
About the car. You said that they did not take account if you talked about tax services, yeah? What does it mean? Did we make mistake or they had a different opinion? What is your opinion?
Nu, eu nu cred.
What does it mean if you say that they didn't take account? Did you try dispute or appeal the tax calculation?
Nu, că nu mă privește pe
No,
mine
this
acest calcul.
doesn't
al
concern
evamat,
me.
domnul Șefciuc.
Mr. Shevchuk did the customs clearance, so the seller did the customs clearance.
Nu mă atinge acest calcul
I'm not
și
impacted by this calculation.
o sumă, am achitat-o,
I was asked to pay a certain amount, I paid it,
Atât
and
m-a
I
interesat.
received my good. This is all I was interested
Alte
in.
nuanțe, cum va fi adus, transportat.
Regarding how it is brought,
Chiar, sincer
how
vă
it is
spun,
transported,
nici
this
n-am
is
detalizat, nici nu m-am
not
pus
something that I
întrebarea.
got into
Deși dacă
details about. I
observați,
didn't ask.
Deci, eu nici nu aș avea
And
vreun
I
temei ca să declar
do
un
not
alt
have any
preț, pentru că
grounds
eu,
for declaring
deci,
a
urmarea
different price
plății unui preț,
because
nu plătesc impozite din prețul ăsta.
I
Nu.
don't pay taxes
suficiente surse
for
care ar
this
acoperi
amount. I have
prețul ăsta.
enough sources to pay this price.
Să fi fost eu vânzător,
If
poate
I
m-ar
were the
afecta pe
seller,
mine
maybe
cumva
this
momentul
would
ăsta.
impact
La
me.
cumpărare pe mine
But if I am the purchaser,
No more question about the car.
O întrebare de concretizare. Dumneavoastră cu vânzătorul ați avut o înțelegere până la importarea acestui
another
automobil
question.
sau
Did you have an agreement with the
ați avut o
seller
înțelegere
before
cu vânzătorul până la importarea acestui
importing
automobil în
this
țară
car?
sau-
Deci,
Or not.
de fapt, înțelegerea,
Actually,
uitați-vă cum a fost.
let me explain how it went.
Tratativele toate sau
All the
tata meu căuta un
negotiations,
automobil.
my father was looking for a
Dacă
car.
observăm, el chiar și-a cumpărat în
He
februarie
even bought
2021
in
un
February
automobil,
2021
chiar înainte
a
de
car.
decesul lui.
Even
Căuta
right
un automobil.
before his
A zis
death,
că,
he was
uite,
looking for a
am
car.
niște
He said that, look,
cunoștințe
I have some
bune
acquaintances
care aduc automobile
who
și
are
uite,
bringing cars.
ai vrea, știa că
And
eu
he
vroiam,
knew
dar
that
nu,
I wanted a car,
decideam
but
până la
I
urmă
couldn't
să-mi
make up
iau.
my mind to buy
Permanent
one.
aveam niște opriri și zici că
And
dacă ai vrea,
I
uite, nu-i scump,
Found
nu-i
excuses.
e
And he
pe
said, it's
potrivă,
not
nu se pun taxe
expensive,
suplimentare,
you don't pay
dacă
additional
vrei.
taxes. Would you like one?
Da, vreau. M-am
And I
dus,
said, yes.
am dat banii,
I
m-am dus
went there, I
automobil.
paid, and the car was brought.
Asta e.
This is all.
Nu ați avut o înțelegere.
So you
până
did
importarea
not have
automobilului în țară, sau-
an agreement
Nu, de fapt,
before
banii au fost
importing
dați
the car.
înainte, până la-
Actually,
da,
the money was paid
Banii dați
before.
sau
Da,
doar
da,
o-
The whole
într-o
amount.
sumă, într-o sumă,
Yes,
da.
it was a lump
Ulterior,
amount.
automobilul a fost importat
Da.
în Moldova.
And then the car was imported through Moldova. Yes, thank you.
Doamna Aliona, mai
Madame
este
Aliona,
curios și faptul
it's
că
also interesting
calculele efectuate de
that the
Comisia
calculations made
pentru anul
by the Commission for
2021, atunci când este
2021,
cumpărat acest
when
automobil,
this car
arată o
was
balanță
purchased,
negativă de
shows a
52
negative
mii lei.
balance of
Chiar
52,000
dacă
lei.
admitem
Even
afirmația
if
că el a costat
we
60.000
accept
de
the
lei,
statement that it
atunci
costed
acest
60,000
automobil nu
lei,
are acoperire
then
financiară.
this car does not have a financial coverage. I explained that it is covered financially. And because I don't agree with the calculation of the Commission regarding this CCP, I presented documents confirming that I had different expenses other than this medium consumption basket that is calculated theoretically. And it's important to take into consideration because I've seen the documents from NAC and this document from the Customs Service.
Eu aș aduce în memorie anul 2021. Este an încă pandemic.
Let me remind you that 2021, this was still during the pandemic. This was an election year, and not many people were buying and selling. And in 2021-2022, the prices for cars, for real estate, and many other products decreased.
Dar dacă e vorba de acoperire
And if we
financiară,
discuss about
eu
financial
am avut
coverage,
acoperire financiară dacă luăm
I did have this financial coverage if we discuss that I did not spend all this amount for CCP. If we exclude Mr. Kuric from this calculation of CCP,
am zis că
as I said, according to the calculations of the real expenses, then we have a positive balance of 56,000 lei.
Would you like take next block of questions or about the car questions? No questions. Okay, when I continue with next topic, let's talk. Yeah, about the car, please.
Doamna Ciocanu, când am
Madam
discutat,
Ciocanu,
ați discutat mai devreme, ați prezentat
earlier you
argumentele
presented your
despre
arguments
diferența dintre
related to the
valoarea
difference between
declarată
the
și
declared
valoarea
value
prețul de contract, valoarea
and
declarată și valoarea
price in the
calculată
contract and the value calculated in the customs for the car. And you mentioned this hypothesis that the difference between the contract and the value determined by the customs service can be explained through the fact that the importer can recover the VAT paid to the seller. Do you know whether the seller or the one who sold you the car, Mr. Shevchuk, recovered the VAT? I don't know exactly. But I know that there are such situations
Orice bun, o persoană juridică.
people purchase a good from a legal entity or not necessarily, they can recover the VAT. So this is a hypothesis.
Eu nu am discutat cu dumnealui pentru...
Yes, I did not discuss with him. I didn't go into such details, but this could be true.
Let's talk about your husband's savings. According to your wealth declaration submitted to the Commission for the years 2018-2022, Juri Kurici had accumulated cash savings throughout the years while barely having any official income. Do you agree? But how it was possible, how you live it very shortly, please.
Deci eu, dar aș dori asta să nu se publice.
I would like this not to be made public, if possible. Is this possible?
Bine, eu
All right.
am declarat aceste sume
I declared these amounts based on my discussion with him.
Fac un indiciu.
I'll give you a clue.
Deci este declarația doamnei Curici
We
Elena,
have the statement from Madame Curici Elena, who mentioned
deci Curici Iurie
that Curici Iurie and his brother received some money from their father.
Ulterior,
Later,
ne uităm și la aspectul
we can take into account the fact that
are cetățenie română,
he has
are mai
Romanian
multe
citizenship.
ieșiri peste hotarele
He
Republicii
has
Moldova.
been
Și
abroad
eu aș
several
presupune
times,
că
and I could
mai
presume
are câștiguri
that he
care
has
nu
some
mi le spune mie.
earnings that he doesn't tell me about.
Sorry, when did you get this information? When did you get this information?
Atunci când, deci înainte de a prezenta
Before
declarația
sending
comisiei.
the declaration to the commission.
Eu nu l-am verificat, nu i-am verificat
I did
banii,
not check
deci
him, I
nici
did
nu
not
am o
check
astfel de
how much money he has, I
posibilitate.
don't have this possibility. This is the situation.
Okay. You didn't present to Commission with estimation of cash savings and donation received by your husband for the period 2011-2017 any document because you couldn't remember and you didn't keep any documentation. That's what you answered. Do you agree with your answers? Yes? Yeah. My question,
Yes.
my question is, did you make any efforts to obtain such document, but to provide them to Commission?
Deci toate acestea, deci nu am îndrăznit să
So
le
I
obțin
did not
cumva
dare
în alt
to
mod
try to
decât
get
din
them,
propriile declarații.
otherwise,
Adică
so
nu
I
pe
only
declarații, dar din
made
propriile
my own
cuvinte
statements.
ale
Or
domnului Curici.
actually, I based my information
Eu
on
nici
his
nu văd
words.
posibilitatea cum aș putea
I cannot see
la cine să
how,
mă adresez,
who could I
sau
go
cum,
to,
la
or
cine să apelez ca să obțin
what to do
ceva
in order to obtain
confirmări.
some confirmation.
Atât doar că mi-a spus dumnealui.
So I only have the information that he gave me.
Okay.
În acest caz vă propun să continuăm
Well, in that
cu
case, we propose you to
subiectele care
continue
vizează
with the topics
proprietatea
related
dumneavoastră
to
din
your
municipiul
property
Bălți,
or real
strada
estate from Bălți Municipality,
Smolean,
Smolean
pe
Street,
care ați
that
construit-o,
you
obținut
have
împreună cu soțul
built
și
or
pentru a
obtained together with your
respecta
husband, and in
firul
order
logic al
to respect the
acestor
logical
întrebări, aș vrea să facem
continuance
concretizări
of this
despre
issue, we want to have some
obținerea
clarification
acestui
about
teren.
how did you
Comisia
get this land. The Commission has received your explanations, but at the same time, Commission understands that this land plot was not provided under the family code for creating a new family, but in what conditions was it provided? As far as I know, those land plots were either in the ownership of the municipality, but actually I could not come with details because I don't know, it's just from what I heard. Well, before the marriage, the land plot was given for unlimited use to Mr. Kuric Yuria for construction purposes. And in that regard, it was from long time ago, from the time of the Soviet City Assembly or Council, I call it some sort of this, when such land plots were given to the people that wanted to build some houses, because the lands were not private property at that time, they were property of the state, they were given for unlimited use for construction purposes. So this is how this land was provided to this person, was attributed. And later on, according to Article 11, the condition of construction, the land was already given, but given that we were already married, I became the beneficiary, the owner of that land plot. Thank you. Okay, following the same logical flow, you started the construction of this house probably after the marriage. Well, since the land plot was obtained, Mr. Yuri Kuric has started to build this house, and he also finalized it. Actually, myself, honestly, I was only the beneficial owner, or the beneficiary and owner of this house. But you said in explanations that after 2015 you stopped building anything in that house. From these statements, it results that in 2011-2015 you were involved also, you contributed to what we call construction works or construction activities. I could not claim that I was involved in construction because I'm not the best constructor. But financially, no. Even when we got married, my husband, he was well settled already, he was financially independent. Even though I've been working for my whole life, since the age of 17, previously the Superior Council of Magistracy has seen my CV, and from the 17 years of age, I started working. I started being independent financially. And also in the explanations provided to the Commission, you speak generally about different stages of your life, marked either by hostility, by making up with your husband. So in that context, for the period 2016-2022, you're mentioning that you still have cohabited or lived together in that house. Yes, maybe we were living together in that house, but having some kind of a division of the household, meaning that we didn't have common finances. This is the point I wanted to get to, but sorry for this detailed and personal questions, but I want to understand if this house provides conditions to live in an autonomous way for two people, like having sanitary blocks separate, kitchen separate, and so on. We don't have such separate premises. I've only indicated that everyone has their own private area, their own room, let's say so.
persoanele când divorțează și rămâne un
Because when
apartament,
persons divorce and have a single apartment, they do not divide the kitchen or the bathroom in two, or entrances, like one entering from the balcony and the other from the window. Well, it's not our case. We don't have such a kind of division, even though we could do so. We just need to put a little bit more of effort and to divide it by stories,
De asta
by
v-am
floor.
și întrebat, pentru că
This is why we asked. Yes, we do have such a possibility to divide the living space, but we didn't set it as a goal for the moment. Because I don't know how much time I will stay in that house. Or... Well, actually, these are some issues that I would not address in public.
Și în aceste condiții,
And
dacă da,
in
cum s-a
these
făcut
conditions,
divizarea
if yes, how
cheltuielilor
was
comunale?
division of the utilities done? I paid all of it. I have all the receivables, even though I understand why this question arises. Because in all of these receivables, it's only one owner indicated, a single beneficiary of the services. But I have this bills all with me that I pay them. Thank you. No more questions.
No, I still want to ask, I would like to understand the proportions. How you share the cost of a reconstruction of a house?
We did not share. We did not share the cost for the construction. The house actually, till the year of 2000, was built, doors and the windows were mounted. And all of these aspects were on Mr. Yuri Kuric. If you have noticed, along with the fact that he's a good guy, he's a good person, he has a superior education, he's an engineer, he also is a master in different other professions. He is electrician, welding master, and these activities costed him nothing. Construction materials were built based on his work. He has worked for a long period of time with the Selecția Institute from Balz, Research Institute from Balz. And from his savings he has bought materials and some other, the money from the wedding, we put them together and had some savings. But this was such a long time ago.
My last question. You provided us memory stick. There are several Excel, as I understand, your calculation. And you didn't provide any official document to support your calculation. Is it correct?
Nu, documentele sunt la
No, there are the documents. The commission has them, which are related to the wages, the salary, and my tax returns, the tax declarations. You have those documents, those forms, CET, DEJ, and every year they are reported to the STS, to the Commission. I just estimated how they were distributed, these incomes.
Sorry, but I think it's very important now to clarify what is on memory stick, because I think you should understand.
So on that memory stick, there is a table similar to the one I have obtained from the Commission in this format. And additionally, for every year there are indicated, starting from 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22, there are the real expenses for the household, for transportation and communication or telecommunications. I believe that Madam Perling had different different idea of the question. You have presented those Excel files, but
care sunt
what
documentele sau
are the
documentația sau acte
documents or
justificative
justifying
care
documents
demonstrează aceste
that
cheltuieli?
prove
Pentru că acest
these
Excel
expenses?
dumneavoastră l-ați
Because
scris,
this
l-ați
Excel was
realizat, dar
compiled by you.
este susținut acest
But
Excel
is it
de
supported
documente
by
oficiale,
some official
inclusiv
documents,
facturi sau-
including bills or other documents? So, if you allow me, I have here something. I leave this to the Commission, but I would like to have them back later on, because so for every year, for every year, I have all the expenses with receivables, everything, and invoices.
Permisiunea dumneavoastră să
With the receipts. Okay, with your permission, we will have scans of these documents and then give you the originals. Please don't get upset, but I do not like this scanning process. This is why I have them in original as they are. Sorry for daring to say it aloud. I have all of them from 2018, 2021, 22. All of these documents are here. I brought them on purpose in order to justify. And sorry, but additionally, I've seen in the materials of the Commission there were interpolation to red north related to the electricity bills. They should match. For Orange information, they should match with the data that I presented. Also in relation to multi-telecom operator, all the data should match, should coincide, that I have collected. You have presented only documents related to the utilities. Yes. Only that. Only this. But for the transportation, it depends whether I used some means or not. But what about this CCP consumption per person, per population, like clothing and everything else? I want to state, to say and to confirm that neither myself, nor my husband, or my daughter, categorically, neither even on holidays, we have such a lifestyle that we do not consume. Okay, there was not allusion to this aspect. Mr. Enciu actually spoke about the expenses for the consumption of the population do not involve only utilities, but expenses for clothes, transportation, and there are some leisure aspects and other expenses. This was the question, that you have some justifying documents, that those justifying documents refer only to the utilities or to some other aspect. So it's only for the utilities which actually cover the highest part of expenses, of my expenses, not of the CP.
Formează cea mai mare parte, pentru că bine, mâncarea, să vă spun și niște lucruri.
So it's from my expenses because speaking about food products, the fact that we had this land plot donated from my father, we were cultivating some plants in order to have some products. And this is it.
Comisia m-a întrebat, apropo, că deoarece loturile
au fost date
în arendă, eu nu dispun de aceste contracte de arendă, dar cunosc cu certitudine
I know certainly that my father was taking products from these land plots, and my mother now is doing that.
Grâu, inclusiv făină,
like wheat, flour, oil, sugar. I cannot recall what other products are, but they know that they receive some share of the products. Even apples. So part of the food products was covered by this so-called leader, this person that was renting all of these land plots.
No more questions from my side. Thank you.
Lillian, do you have any further questions? Any other questions by members of the Commission? All right. It seems that the Commission members have completed their questions. Ms. CIOCANU, would you like to make any further statements before we conclude the hearing?
Cred că da, mi-am
I
schițat
think
și
yes, I have even drafted
Stimată comisie,
some points. So,
examenul pe care l-am
Honorable
promovat
Commission, the
astăzi,
examination
el
that
este
I went through
format în
today
contextul
is
reformei
in the
justiției
context of
și
the
este o mare
reform of the judiciary, and
onoare
it's a
pentru
great
mine
honor
să
for me to take
la
part
acest examen și
in
la acest
this
exercițiu.
examination and in this exercise.
Toată corespondența,
All the
tot
correspondence, all the dialogue with the members of the Commission and the Secretariat of the Commission made me become more organized from financial point of view, to review, to examine all the expenses and incomes and to put them in a particular order. All this period of cooperation was beneficial, first of all, for me, and it's for the first time that the lawyers were provided the possibility to candidate or to apply for this high forum like the Supreme Court of Justice. And thank you for the questions you asked, for the warnings addressed to me. And regardless of the result to come, the decision of the members of the Commission, I hope that my honesty will be appreciated, and I hope that I answered accordingly to all the questions you have asked. Thank you.
Thank you. We've come to the end of today's hearing. Ms. CIOCANU, thank you again for your submissions and answers to the questions posed to you. After the hearing, the Commission will approve an evaluation report stating its conclusion whether the subject meets the criteria for ethical and financial integrity under Law 65. The Commission will strive to complete its report and announce its conclusion as soon as possible, and it generally seeks to do so within a month after the public hearing. Today's hearing is now closed. Good afternoon.